A good introduction can make or break you as a speaker. So, how do you get a good introduction?
How'd you do that?
I see that success is not something you pursue, it is something you are.
If you're about to go on stage and you get a bad introduction, if the person introducing you says, all right, so the guy that's coming up next, he's a scam artist and slime and worst person ever. So please welcome John Doe. Well, at that point, he's ruined your entire presentation. I mean, freaking ruined it. You'll never sell a product. People there, they'll be skeptical of you. So he's ruined everything. On the other hand, if you get a great introduction, then that just sets the frame for everything that comes after. It's like, dude, this guy is going to be the most amazing thing ever. And this guy that I want to talk about, Casey Eberhart, he saw me at an event years ago, and he gave me a great testimonial.
That through just using your brain, you can entertain and blow people's mind and make people have an absolute total blast.
And Casey is actually the guy that I like to have introduce me. If I ever see him at an event, I always say, hey, Casey, can you introduce me? Because he is a great person to intro, and there are multiple reasons for it. One, I mean, he's a great MC in general, really cool guy. But two, when I was at the Traffic and Conversion Summit, for example, I was doing a presentation, and I asked the lady in charge, the lady Deanna, she's also great. In fact, if it wasn't for Casey, I would have had her introduce me. But I asked her, I was like, hey, where's Casey at? And she called Casey to have him come introduce me because Casey has seen me before. And when someone has seen you before, the introduction is going to be a million times better. I've had him introduce me at other events too. Like literally whenever I've seen him at an event, I say, hey, can you introduce me?
Benji, perform for. Is freak of nature accurate? Yes. So, how many of you, just by show of hands, heard me talk about Benji Bruce earlier today? I promise you, you're about to, you guys are gonna, your minds are gonna be blown.
When someone introduces you, it's not necessarily just what they say, it's more of how they say it. I don't need someone to step on stage and talk for 20 minutes. Oh, he's going to be amazing. I kind of want someone quick. And what Casey does is Casey kind of goes up and he's like, look, this dude is about to freaking blow your mind. Like, and you could sense that from him. That's what you want from an introduction. That's what you want. Whereas someone who's kind of emotionless, like, you're like, oh, so the guy who's coming up next, he's really great. He's been on stages for, that's the worst introduction you can get. You want an introduction from someone who's seen you before.
This guy, honestly, is remarkable, and it's worth the price of admission that I paid.
And I've had another guy who saw me, I can't remember where he saw me actually. It was actually at an insurance event, and so he brought me into another event. And I had him introduce me at this event too, because he's seen me before. If you're at an event and you know someone has seen you before, then get them to introduce you because they will communicate it a million times better. If you can't get them to introduce you, the next best version is to actually have someone of value, like a CEO or vice president stand on stage and introduce you, because their reputation is kind of reflecting on you, where the CEO gets on stage and he's like, all right, this guy, you guys got to watch him. So the employees are going to say, oh, well, the CEO says we got to watch him, then we got to watch him. So that's the next best. The absolute worst is when they've never seen you before, and then you kind of just have to give them a card and they just say it. I mean, still, it's not horrible. It's at least not bad where someone says, the guy coming up next is a scum of the earth. So it's not bad, but Number one, I always look for someone who's seen me before, who's seen me present before, and someone who talks well as well. That's another thing, because several people have seen me before when I'm at an event, but guys like Casey, he knows how to introduce me. So that's one thing, someone who's seen you before. The next is someone with high status, the CEO, the vice president, and last is just a regular introduction. And this is one of the reasons why you've probably seen speakers where they have their own like 30-second, 60-second clip, their own introduction, because they know that the introduction means a lot. So if you want to improve your presentation in the long run and just kind of get a better vibe and a better start to the presentation, look at the introduction.